What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. This video is going to be about title commitments, what they are, how to read them, and what other documents you should probably have in front of you during your review of the commitment process as a real estate agent, and why you need to get very well versed in being able to read a title commitment and what that means. All right, before we get started, you guys know the drill. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram for updates, DM me for messages, questions, content, so forth. I'm always there as much as I can to get to any sort of questions, comments, and so forth. Make sure you guys do that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Hit that thumbs up and ding that bell for notifications. All of that is appreciated as I continue to pump out video educational content for you guys in the worlds of real estate, home building, and investing as an entrepreneur. All right, that being said, all the formalities out of the way, let's get into title commitments. What are they? So, first things first, what is a title commitment and what is the function of it? All right, it's basically it serves two functions. It is number one, a binder for real estate insurance, which evidences insurable title. Okay, so it's evidence of title of a property, albeit land or improved property with on the land. It describes the property. It is a insurance policy established by a title company to ensure your title is free and clear of any encumbrances, liens, etc., as long as they can find them. All right. The second purpose is it's the primary evidence of marketable title that's called for in your purchase contract. All right. What the heck did I just say? So, a title company insures the title, which is basically your piece of paper that tells you that you own a property. Okay. So, you're going to get a certain kind of deed when you purchase a property, a general warranty deed, a fee simple, um, special warranty, etc. That's for a different video, but your piece of paper needs to be insured by a title company to make sure that anything that's missed on here, they're going to take care of to make sure that you, as the owner or as the entity, have clear and marketable title during your purchase and after. And it ensures it up to the point where you, as a seller, at some point, if you sell it, go ahead and sell the property to somebody else and transfer title happens again. All right. So this is what a title commitment looks like. And it's basically the breakdown of the insurance policy and the review of the title company through their research. And it basically dictates what they found that's on the title itself. It's all kinds of things throughout history of this certain property. It describes all the transfers, all of the easements that might be there, encumbrances, so forth. And it basically, at this point, you're going to receive this title commitment during your contract period, and you are required to review this. And if you don't feel comfortable at the beginning of your real estate journey reviewing this, then make sure you go out and find a real estate lawyer to help you review this. As we all know, lawyers are not cheap, but it is worth you paying one to review title to make sure that you haven't missed anything or misconstrued anything within this commitment itself so that your buyer is protected and you don't have any way, shape, or form of screwing this contract up for your buyer. And if you do find things within this title commitment that's been dug up for per research for this history of the property, then you can negotiate how you can fix those things. Sometimes things are so awkward and confusing, convoluted that you can't fix them. Some things are very minor, not a big deal. Sometimes it's worth going ahead and saying, we're done. We are walking away from this property because of what's found during the commitment and the title period. So, lot to take in, but in all of the summary of that, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to kind of walk through it, but this is what a title commitment looks like. All right. So the first couple pages are kind of a breakdown of what the commitment is, how the policy, the insurance policy is set forth per the specific title company. And then you're going to kind of run down here and you're going to look at the commitment conditions. Okay. So it's going to have definitions of what certain things are defined within this commitment. It kind of explains how things are written, very specific to this title company's commitment and their title insurance. Um, their rights to amend anything, limitations of liability. So certain things they may commit to delete or insure over or not is all defined within this. Okay. So as you're looking through this, these are kind of the breakdowns at the beginning of what they do and don't do per the insurance policy they're going to give to you or your buyer, depending on who's purchasing it. And then you're going to scroll down through here and you're going to find all of the information. I'll kind of scroll through this real quick. You're going to find all the information in here. It's going to show the seller, the buyer, the legal description, all of that. Make sure that all of that is right and correct before you move forward. Every once in a blue moon, these title companies will miss it. All of this information is going to be derived from your purchase contract. And that's where they're going to pull that information. So make sure you fill out your contracts properly to begin with and you have all that information correct. If something in here is not correct, not a big deal. You just got to go back to the title company and say, hey, you misspelled the buyer's name, you misspelled the seller's name, whatever it is, and move forth from there. All right. So then you're going to go to Schedule B, or how this is written, depending on the title company. And you're going to go look at all the following requirements that have to be met in order for this title company to insure the title free and clear and marketable. All right. Certain things have to be met. A lot of times there's a loan on the property. A loan is filed as a lien against the property. So during closing, as you guys understand it, someone's purchasing it, someone's selling it. That loan, if there is any, gets paid off from the proceeds at sale before that transfer title happens. So paying off the loan is almost every single time going to be one of the requirements. Any other liens that are on here have to be resolved before they transfer insured title to someone else. You got to pay all their fees and premiums, all that's taken care of at closing. All the taxes and any assessments, all this has to be paid. A lot of these things will be included in the actual settlement statement as a debit or credit, depending on which side of the equation you're on per the transaction. And you want to make sure you go through all these. And there's something in here that pops up that doesn't look right. Let's just say there's a requirement of a status fee being paid or an assessment being paid for an HOA, and there's no HOA on this particular property. Well, you have to go back to the title company and say, hey, where are you finding this HOA? Because per what we understand, there is no HOA as part of this purchase. So that's kind of weird. Let's figure out what's going on. Certain things like that. These are all things you want to slowly review. Make sure you guys, when you're writing that contract up, your offer up, make sure that in your dates and deadlines, you have enough time for yourself and whoever else is going to review this stuff to get through this documentation. And also make sure you allow enough time at the beginning of the contract period for the title company themselves to start the commitment process. Usually that's about a 7-day period to receive documents, and then you want another 7 days to review them. I know in this day and age of crazy real estate markets, there's a lot of like 7 and 10-day contract periods. People are paying cash for things. It's really not enough time to get the title company to get information and due diligence documents. It's also not enough time for you to review them. So even if you're paying cash for something, give yourself a full 2 weeks to get through your DD operations and paperwork, including the title commitment. And in conjunction with that, as you're going to go through, we're going to look at this in a minute, the survey, if required, or at least an ILC that designates that. All right. Schedule B Part 2 in this particular commitment talks about exceptions. This commitment does not republish any covenant, condition, restriction, or limitation contained in any document referred to in this commitment to the extent that the specific covenant, condition, restriction, or limitation violates our federal law based on race, color, religion, so forth. This is all the stuff that we talk about as far as all the things in real estate you can't indemnify against. Okay. That's sex, gender, handicaps, familiar status, all that stuff. We can't do those kinds of things, obviously. So then anything else that's in here will be shown as an exception, meaning they're not going to insure for these things. So, for example, rights and claims of parties in possession not shown in public records. So if someone's not recorded in the public records as an owner or someone that has even a partial interest in the property, they can't insure against that. So make sure you get all that DD information, those due diligence documents, and square away is the owner of record, and what's shown in the public records is correct per what you're being told by the seller. Or on the other side, making sure that you, as the listing agent, have that information from your seller correct before transfers happens, because they're not going to close if these aren't going to be in here. And as a buyer, you're not going to get insured for these things if they're incorrect. All right, discrepancies, conflicts, and boundary lines, shortage in area, encroachments, and any fact in which a correct survey and inspection of the premises would disclose and which are not shown by public records. So, again, you want to review the title commitment in conjunction with your survey, or at least an ILC, an improvement location certificate. I do recommend paying for surveys these days. There's so many different things that are happening in real estate. Fences being built, driveways being built in the wrong place. Things are being put up way too fast, and things are being missed as far as boundary lines go. You need to get that verified by a licensed surveyor. An ILC will basically give you the model for which it should look, but doesn't go out and actually look for pins and boundary markers with a licensed surveyor. They basically just verify that what's in the public records is in conjunction with the size, meets and bounds boundary lines of the survey of the last record. Really, that's all they're digging up. They're not actually going out and measuring things, is what I mean. Yes, they're more money, but a lot of times it will cover you from any sort of F ups that might happen or have happened 50, 100 years ago, even. So be careful, especially with older properties, when you avoid getting a survey. It's probably not a good idea. You want to go ahead and get the survey. And then, in conjunction with your title commitment, review this so you can find if there are any discrepancies, conflicts, and boundary lines, whatever it is, you can have that. All right. So, also read through all the rest of these exceptions, making sure that there's nothing else weird in here. Adverse claims, so forth. You don't want to make sure that these things are missing. Unpatented mining claims, reservations or exceptions and patents, minerals, whatsoever kind, subsurface stuff is really important. So if you're just doing raw land, or if you're doing on bigger plots, make sure that you are versed well enough in those types of transactions that you know what you're looking for and you don't miss these items. Water rights claims or title water, all that stuff, you need to understand what that is. Again, don't take, like I've always told you, don't take listings that you're not familiar with. Don't take buyers into properties where you're not familiar. If you need help, ask for help, period. Okay, right of provider of a vein or load to extract or remove his or therefrom should be the same, be found to penetrate or intersect the property hereby granted as reserved in the United States patent recorded February 6th, 1886 in book 25 at page 365. This is what's filed. This is the cool part about this day and age in 2022. This is what's filed with a county of record for this property is located. And all I have to do is click on this, and it will open up that page in this book that's filed and show me the original lien claims that are recorded against this property. You want to go back and review to make sure that that doesn't still exist or there aren't any. Some of this stuff is so old, it's just been there since the beginning of time, basically. And sometimes it's a moot point. Sometimes it may be an item that you may need to address. Okay. So if you open this stuff and you don't know what you're reading, time to call the real estate lawyer or a real estate expert of some kind that can help you decipher what you're looking at. But these things in here are important. And these are the things that will be in here on the specific property of for which you're doing the transaction. Okay. That's all the stuff that's in capital letters, at least in this title commitment. So all of these links, all the stuff that's in blue here are books and pages for which things have been recorded against this property up until the day the commitment was sent to you. And you very, very well may get several, revisions of the title commitment, depending on if you are doing a wholesale or a transfer of title during the contract period. If you're signing the contract, so forth, these things will get updated, and that's in the first couple pages. Make sure that that information is correct. Okay, all of this stuff that's in capital letters here is going against the specific property, and things that are being exceptions if they're different from what they've found here. And again, a lot of this stuff will be dictated, if you have a good surveyor, on the survey, if it shows, excuse me, on the survey. All right. So all of these things need to be reviewed. I know a lot of real estate agents don't even know how to read this stuff. They look at this and go, I don't even know what this means. I don't even know a lot. I'm going to say more than a handful of real estate agents that didn't even know you could click on these things and pick up these links to the specific reception books. filed information with the county of the property of record, this is the link that shows that document. It'll pull straight up for you through whatever title company's system that's on, or it'll take a link directly to the county of record. And you need to review these things. And you want to make sure that if there's something in here that looks weird, odd, or this is even part of the right property, you got to make sure that's resolved, because these things will not get insured if they're not correct. And that could be a disastrous circumstance down the road. Okay. So then you're going to get down to the bottom of this thing, is going to have their disclosures in here, affiliated business arrangements, all that kind of good stuff at the end. So that's a pretty title commitment for the most part, guys. I've seen much longer ones, but at the same time, it's super important that you guys make sure you guys review that in depth. And again, with the title commitment and understanding how you're reading and reviewing those commitments, and you're going through and checking information, reach out to people if you don't know where to look for this information or what you're reading. But you want to review that, with the survey, because that survey is going to have a lot of that information actually written in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that survey itself. And you can go ahead and check it against the commitment with those items that are highlighted for that specific property. And you can make sure that that information is correct, or the surveyor may have found something that's not in the commitment. And that's where you go, hold up, stop, guys. We got to go check this stuff. Make sure that, if it's not recorded, why is it not recorded? I'm showing something different on the survey than the commitment. Those are things you want to make sure are resolved before you get to the closing table. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. If you got questions, I'm sure you'll have a few on this one. Drop them in the comments below here. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Don't forget, on the way out, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Ding the bell for notifications so you get more of these videos. I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all the support. It's been great. Until next time, guys, keep building.